After 15 years of working with my company, I received a rather surprising termination letter from the CEO. It said, "Restructuring. You are fired." A younger recruit said goodbye teasing. I said, "Thank you for the opportunity," and left. The next day, I woke up to calls from the CEO. After 15 years of working with my company, I received a rather surprising termination letter from the CEO. It said, "Restructuring. You are fired." A younger recruit said goodbye, teasing. I said, "Thank you for the opportunity," and left. The next day, they needed me, but it was too late. Hello. Thank you for your continuous support. This means a lot to us. If you enjoy the stories we share, kindly subscribe to this channel. It will be great if you can leave a comment on which city you are watching from. We might just give you a shout out in our next story. Today's special shout out goes to Ellen Morton from New York. We are glad you enjoy our stories. Now let's dive into the details of today's story. I'd given Pinnacle Solutions 15 years of my life when the email hit my inbox like a sucker punch. It was late afternoon, the office humming with the usual clatter of keyboards and half-hearted chatter. I'd just wrapped a call with a client, Mrs. Delaney, who'd been with us for a decade and still called me the only one who gets it when I saw the subject line, "Organizational Update." No big deal, I thought. Victor Grayson, our CEO, loved sending these vague, self-important memos. I clicked it open, expecting jargon about synergy or streamlining. Instead, I got this: "Due to restructuring, your position is eliminated. Effective immediately. Regards, Victor." 15 years, and that was it. No warning. No, thanks for your service. Not even a phone call. Just 13 words and a digital signature. I sat there, staring at the screen, my pulse thudding in my ears. Senior account manager, gone. Effective immediately. I was 42, not some kid fresh out of college, and I'd built half their client base from scratch. Yet here I was, erased in a sentence. I leaned back in my chair, the leather creaking under me, and let it sink in. The office didn't stop. Phones kept ringing. Someone laughed too loud across the room, but it felt like I'd been yanked out of time. I glanced at my desk, a stack of files I'd been prepping for next week's meetings, a framed photo of me and my old dog, Max, from before he passed. 15 years of late nights, skipped weekends, and deals I'd fought tooth and nail to close. And for what? Restructuring. Everything okay, Martin? Lisa, my colleague from 2 cubicles over, poked her head around the partition. She had a knack for reading people, and I guess my face was screaming something. "Yeah," I lied, forcing a smile. "Just wrapping up. No point in spilling it yet. I'd tell her later, maybe, if I didn't choke on the humiliation first." I started packing. Not much to take. Just the photo, a few pens, a notebook I'd scribbled client quirks in over the years. Mrs. Delaney likes 2 sugars in her coffee. Mr. Patel hates small talk. Little things that kept them loyal. As I slid the notebook into my bag, Jake swaggered over. He was the new kid, barely 25, all gelled hair and cheap bravado. Victor had hired him a month ago, part of his fresh blood kick. "Goodbye, old-timer," he said, smirking like he'd want something. Time for the young guns to take over. I looked up at him, his grin wide and careless, and felt a flicker of heat in my chest. I could have snapped back, told him I'd closed more deals in a year than he'd manage in a decade. But what was the point? He'd learned soon enough. Instead, I zipped my bag, stood, and said, "Thank you all for the opportunity." Calm, steady, like I was leaving a meeting, not my career. Jake blinked, thrown off by the lack of a fight, but I was already walking. Past Lisa, who shot me a worried look I didn't return. Past the break room, where I'd spent 1,000 lunch hours. Out the glass doors into the elevator, my reflection staring back at me. Graying temples, tired eyes, but a jaw still set hard. I wasn't done. Not yet. At home, I dropped my bag on the kitchen counter and poured a glass of water. The apartment was quiet, too quiet, and my mind wouldn't stop racing. I pulled up the email again on my phone, rereading those 13 words until they blurred. Victor hadn't even bothered with a severance mention. Just effective immediately, like I was a line item to scratch off. I thought about the early days back when Pinnacle was a scrappy startup, when I'd stayed late to pitch clients Victor couldn't charm. I trusted him, believed in the "we're a family" line he used to throw around. What a joke. I opened my laptop, the screen glowing in the dim room, and pulled up my resume. It was outdated, last tweaked 5 years ago, but the bones were solid. 15 years of results. Clients who'd stuck with me through mergers, recessions, Victor's ego trips. I started typing, updating titles, adding numbers. $5 million in revenue last year alone. My phone buzzed, Victor's name flashed on the caller ID. I let it ring out. He'd left no voicemail, and I wasn't in the mood to hear his voice. I fired off the resume to 3 contacts, A headhunter I'd met at a conference, a rival firm's VP who'd once tried to poach me, and an old client who'd hinted at freelance work if I ever left. Then I leaned back, glass in hand, and let the day settle over me. Fired at 42. No warning. A kid mocking me on my way out. It stung, God. It stung. But I wasn't broken. I built something at Pinnacle, something bigger than Victor realized, and I built again. The phone buzzed again. Victor, round 2. I silenced it and stared at the ceiling. Tomorrow, I'd figure out the next step. Tonight, I just needed to breathe. But as I sat there, a question gnawed at me. What happens when the guy who fires you figures out he's the one who's screwed? I woke up to 7 missed calls from Victor. 7. The first came at 8:03 a.m., the last at 10:42, and my phone screen lit up like a scoreboard of his panic. I didn't listen to the voicemails, not yet. I'd been fired less than 24 hours ago, and whatever he wanted could wait. I shuffled to the kitchen, brewed a pot of coffee, and sat at the counter with my laptop. The plan was simple: sort through the job offers trickling in, map out my next move. I wasn't wallowing. 15 years at Pinnacle had taught me how to pivot, and I wasn't about to start doubting myself now. By 9:30, my inbox had 3 replies. The headhunter, Karen, said she'd pitch me to a couple of firms by noon. The VP from Apex Innovations, a competitor I'd always respected, sent a one-liner. Lunch tomorrow? We need to talk. And Tom Reynolds, a client I'd worked with for 8 years, wrote, heard you're free. Let's discuss something independent. Call me. I leaned back, sipping my coffee, letting the possibilities sink in. Double my old salary at Apex? My own gig with Tom? For the first time since that email hit, I felt the ground steadying under me. Then my phone buzzed again. Victor, 8th call. I smirked and muted it. Let him stew. I'd given him 15 years of loyalty, and he'd given me 13 words and a kick out the door. If he thought I'd jump when he snapped his fingers, he'd forgotten who I was. I opened a spreadsheet instead, jotting down pros and cons of each offer. Apex meant stability. A team. A corner office maybe. Tom's idea was riskier freelance. No safety net, but total control. I was halfway through when the phone lit up with a text. Martin, call me. Urgent. Victor again. I ignored it and kept typing. Around 11 o'clock, Lisa texted. You okay? Office is a mess today. I frowned, thumbs hovering over the screen. A mess? I'd figured Pinnacle would feel my absence. Someone had to pick up my accounts, but mess sounded bigger. What's going on? I shot back. Her reply came fast. Clients bailing. Like, a lot. All asking for you. I stared at the words, my coffee going cold in my hand. Clients bailing. Asking for me. A slow grin crept across my face. I hadn't expected this. Not so soon. I flipped on my work email, still active, sloppy on their end. And there it was. Chaos in black and white. Subject lines from clients I'd known for years. Contract termination notice. Requesting confirmation of your status. Moving our business elsewhere. I opened one from Mrs. Delaney. Martin, she wrote. I just heard you're gone. You're the only one we trusted at Pinnacle. We're out unless you're back. Another from Mr. Patel, short and sharp. No, Martin. No deal. Canceling. I scrolled through 38 emails, 38 cancellations, all saying the same thing. I've been their anchor, and without me, they were cutting ties. I leaned back, a laugh bubbling up. Victor's restructuring had just blown up in his face. I'd spent years building those relationships, phone calls on birthdays, late-night fixes when their projects went sideways. They didn't trust Pinnacle. They trusted me. And now Victor was finding out the hard way. My phone buzzed again. Victor's 9th call. This time, he left a voicemail. I played it, curiosity getting the better of me. Martin, it's Victor. We need to talk. Call me back now. His voice was tight, clipped, nothing like the smug drawl he usually paraded around the office with. I deleted it and poured another coffee. By noon, the offers kept coming. Apex up the ante, double my salary and equity. Tom called, voice crackling with excitement. Martin, I've got 3 other clients ready to sign with you if you go solo. We'd rather work with you than anyone at Pinnacle. I jotted it down, my spreadsheet growing. I wasn't just in demand. I was a hot commodity. Victor called again 10th time, and I let it ring out, picturing him pacing his corner office, barking at Jake to fix something the kid couldn't even understand. Lisa texted again. Victor's losing it. Keeps asking where you are. I typed back, tell him I'm busy moving on. She sent a thumbs up emoji, and I chuckled. Lisa had always had my back quietly in her own way. I wondered if she'd known this would happen, if she'd seen what Victor hadn't, that I wasn't just a name on a payroll. Mid-afternoon, I took a break, staring out my window at nothing in particular. The cancellations weren't just revenge. They were proof. 15 years hadn't been for nothing. I built something real. Something Victor couldn't replace with a kid like Jake or a buzzword like restructuring. My phone buzzed 11th call, another voicemail. I played it. Martin, it's Victor. This is serious. Clients are dropping like flies. Name your price to come back. Desperation seeped through every word, and I deleted it without a second thought. I wasn't going back. Not for a corner office. Not for a raise. Not for anything. I had Apex on the table, Tom's offer in my pocket, and a fire in my gut I hadn't felt in years. Victor thought he'd cut me loose, but he'd just cut his own throat. And me? I was already climbing. The only question left was how high I'd go and how hard Pinnacle would fall. 3 days after Victor's email turned my life upside down, I sat in a coffee shop across town, staring at a napkin where I'd scratched out my future. Apex Innovations had upped their offer again. Double my old salary, equity, and a team to lead. Tom Reynolds had called twice, pushing his freelance pitch. 3 clients already lined up, ready to follow me if I struck out on my own. 2 paths, one safe, one bold. I'd spent 15 years playing it safe at Pinnacle, and look where that got me. Fired by a guy who couldn't spell loyalty. I sipped my coffee, black and bitter, and wondered which Martin the First wanted to be now. My phone stayed quiet that morning, a relief after Victor's barrage of calls. 11 voicemails total, each one more frantic, but I hadn't returned a single one. He'd made his choice, and I was making mine. Lisa had texted an hour ago. Pinnacle's bleeding. Victor's a ghost. You okay? I'd replied better than ever. And minute. The client exodus, 38 cancellations and counting, had flipped the script. I wasn't just the guy looking for a job anymore. I was the guy everyone wanted. The Apex meeting was set for noon. Their VP, Claire, had picked a spot downtown, neutral ground. I got there early, sliding into a booth with my napkin of notes. She walked in 10 minutes later. Sharp suit, sharper smile, and got straight to it. Martin, we've watched you for years. Pinnacle was punching above its weight because of you. We want you at Apex. Senior Director, equity stake, your own team. Start Monday if you're in. She slid a folder across the table. Contract, numbers, perks. Double my salary was just the start. Stock options. A bonus structure that made my head spin. I kept my face neutral, flipping through pages, but inside, I was buzzing. This was the kind of offer you don't say no to. Monday's fast, I said, testing her. I need to wrap some things up. We'll make it work, she replied, leaning forward. You're worth it. Pinnacle's imploding without you. Trade blogs are already sniffing around. We'd rather have you building with us than picking up their pieces. I nodded, letting her words settle. She was right about Pinnacle. Lisa's updates painted a grim picture. Empty desks, canceled meetings, Victor dodging the board. I'd built their client trust brick by brick, and now they were finding out it didn't transfer to Jake or anyone else. Claire's offer was a lifeline, a rocket boost. But as I folded the contract into my bag, Tom's voice echoed in my head. Go solo, Martin. We'll back you. Freedom versus structure. I told Claire I'd think it over and left my mind a tug of war. That night, I hit an industry mixer, half networking, half curiosity. I'd thrown on a new suit, one I'd bought after the firing, and walked in feeling like a man with options. Heads turned, whispers followed. That's Harper, Pinnacle's golden boy. Heard he's why they're tanking. I grabbed a drink and mingled, fielding questions with a shrug. Just exploring what's next. Then I saw Victor. He cornered me by the bar, his tie loose, eyes wild. Martin, buddy, he started. All fake warmth. We need to talk. No, we don't, I said, sipping my drink. He flinched, but I didn't budge. Look, I messed up. He pressed, voice low. The restructuring, it wasn't personal. Clients are gone. The board's on my ass. Come back. Double your pay, corner office, whatever you want. Name it. I set my glass down, meeting his gaze. 15 years of his bluster flashed through me. Missed raises, broken promises, that email. You didn't just fire me, Victor, I said, slow and clear. You fired trust. My clients knew that. You didn't. I'm not your fix. His jaw tightened, a vein pulsing in his neck. You're making a mistake. You think Apex or whoever's chasing you cares like we do. They don't have to care, I shot back. They just have to value me. You never did. I walked away, leaving him there, a man drowning in his own mess. People watched, heads swiveling. I didn't care. I'd said my piece. Outside, I leaned against the wall, the night air cool on my face. My phone buzzed. Sarah, one of my old Pinnacle clients. Martin, it's me, she said when I picked up. Heard you're free. I'm out of Pinnacle contracts, Don. Tell me you're starting your own thing. I'd sign with you tomorrow. I laughed. A real one. Tom said the same. I'm thinking about it. Don't think too long, she said. You're the best I've worked with. Pinnacle's nothing without you. We hung up, and I stood there, pieces clicking into place. Then Lisa texted, Victor's toast. Board's meeting tomorrow. Also, heard I tipped off some clients about you leaving. Didn't mean to start a war. I stared at the screen, floored. Lisa? Quiet. Steady. Lisa had lit the match. I texted back, you're a legend. Drink saw me soon. She'd seen what I hadn't, my worth, and kicked the dominoes over. I walked to my car, Apex's contract in my bag, Sarah and Tom's offers in my head. Victor's plea rang hollow against Claire's confidence and Lisa's loyalty. I wasn't just at a crossroads. I was the crossroads. Pinnacle was crumbling, and I was rising. The only question was which path I'd take, Apex's ladder or my own empire. By morning, I'd know. But that night, I slept better than I had in years, dreaming of a future I'd build, not borrow. A week after Victor's email blindsided me, I watched Pinnacle Solutions unravel from a distance like a ship I jumped just before it hit the rocks. I'd made my call, signed with Apex Innovations that morning, incorporated still fresh on a contract that promised double my old pay, equity, and a team to lead. Claire had grinned when I handed it over, saying, "Welcome aboard, Martin. Let's build something big." I'd nodded, feeling the weight lift. Apex was my launchpad, not my ceiling. Tom and Sarah's freelance offers stayed in my back pocket. Tempting, but I wasn't ready to go solo yet. I wanted resources, a crew, a machine to run before I built my own. My phone hadn't stopped buzzing since the mixer. Lisa's texts came first. Board's grilling Victor today. Office is a graveyard. Then Sarah, Pinnacle's done with me. Let me know when you're ready. I'm in. Even the headhunter, Karen, chimed in. Heard you're off the market. Smart move with Apex. I replied to Lisa with a quick, keep me posted, ignored Victor's 12th voicemail, same groveling tone, and focused on the next step. I was done looking back. By noon, the trade blogs lit up. Pinnacle Solutions bleeds clients after firing star manager, one headline screamed. Another, Grayson's restructuring gamble backfires. I skimmed them at my kitchen counter, coffee in hand. 38 cancellations had ballooned to 42 with more teetering. The numbers didn't lie. Half their revenue, gone in a week. My name popped up in every piece. Martin Harper, the trusted face of Pinnacle's success, was let go in a cost-cutting move insiders call catastrophic. I smirked. Victor's fresh blood plan had bled him dry. Then he tried something stupid. A rumor hit my inbox. Victor telling anyone who'd listened I'd botched accounts, left messes for Jake to clean up. It was a desperate swing, and it landed like a wet rag. Within hours, clients fired back. Mrs. Delaney emailed me directly, heard Victor's nonsense, told him you're the only reason we stayed. He's a fool. Mr. Patel posted on a trade forum, Harper was gold, Grayson's the liability. Even Lisa texted. Victor's spinning lies. Nobody's buying it. Clients are pissed. I didn't respond to the noise. I didn't have to. The truth was louder than his bluff. Jake bailed that afternoon. Lisa called me, voice crackling with amusement. Kid walked out at lunch, said the phones wouldn't stop. Clients yelling, asking for you. He looked like he'd seen a ghost. I laughed, picturing his gelled hair and smug grin crumbling under pressure. He thought he'd replace me. I said, poor bastard didn't know what he was replacing. Victor's next, she replied. Board's done with him. You should see this place. Half the desks are empty. I thanked her, promised that drink, and hung up. Jake's exit was a footnote. Victor's was the main event. I started at Apex the next day, walking into a sleek office that hummed with purpose. Claire introduced me to my team. 5 sharp account managers, eager to move. You're the guy from Pinnacle, right? One asked. Heard you sank them single-handed. I shrugged. They sank themselves. I just stopped holding them up. They laughed, and we got to work. My first call was a new client Claire had teed up, a $2 million deal I closed by lunch. It felt good, clean, like I'd shed 15 years of Victor's baggage in a single handshake. Pinnacle's collapse kept rolling. Lisa texted midweek. Victor's out. Board fired him this morning. Rumor is he's selling his car to cover debts. I didn't gloat. Not out loud, but I felt the justice of it. He'd built nothing, just written my work until he thought he didn't need me. Now he was scrambling, and I was climbing. The blogs updated. Pinnacle Solutions faces layoffs, potential sale. 42 clients down to a handful, a shell of what I'd helped make it. I'd warned him at the mixer. He'd fired trust. He hadn't listened. My old colleagues rallied too. A LinkedIn post from Mrs. Delaney went viral in our circles. Martin Harper is the gold standard. Pinnacle lost him, and we lost Pinnacle. Comments piled up. Clients, peers, even a rival exec I'd sparred with years ago. Harper's the real deal. Grayson's a cautionary tale. I didn't post a thing. Didn't need to. They were doing it for me. By Friday, I settled into Apex, my desk stacked with files, my team buzzing around me. I wasn't just a hired gun here. I was a mentor, a closer, a name. Claire stopped by, leaning in my doorway. You're already making waves. Good choice coming here. I nodded. Good choice picking me. She grinned and left me to it. That night, I sat on my couch, phone quiet for once. Victor's lies had flopped. Jake was gone. Pinnacle was a ghost town. I'd landed on my feet. Better. I'd landed higher. Apex was my proving ground, and I was ready to run it my way. But as I kicked back, one thought lingered. This wasn't the end. It was a beginning, and whatever I built next, it'd be mine, trust, and all. A month after Victor's email ripped my old life apart, I stood in my new office at Apex Innovations looking out a window that framed a city I was ready to conquer. The desk behind me was cluttered, files, a coffee mug, a photo of Max I brought from Pinnacle, but it felt right. I'd been at Apex 3 weeks, and already I'd closed deals worth $4 million, trained a team that hung on my every word, and earned a nod from Claire that said more than any paycheck. Pinnacle was a memory, a lesson, a ghost. I'd moved on, and I'd moved up. The first week had been a blur, learning names, shaking hands, diving into accounts. My team, 5 account managers, all hungry, watched me like I was some legend. "You're the guy who tanked Pinnacle," once said, half joking. I grinned. They tanked themselves. I just walked away. They've left, but they got it. I wasn't there to gloat. I was there to work, and work I did. My first big win came fast. A $2 million contract with the tech firm Claire had been chasing for months. I'd sealed it over lunch, leaning on the same trust I built with Pinnacle's clients. Difference was Apex valued it. Lisa kept me posted on the wreckage I'd left behind. "Pinnacle's laying off half the staff," she texted one morning. "Victor's gone quiet. Heard he's consulting now, barely scraping by." I didn't reply right away. Part of me wanted to feel bad for him, 15 together after all, but he'd made his bed. The board had fired him a week after the mixer, and the blogs had feasted. Grayson's Folly, how one firing sank a firm. Last count, they'd lost 45 clients. What was left limped along, a shadow I didn't recognize. Jake hadn't resurfaced, probably licking his wounds somewhere. His young gun swagger shot to hell. My phone rang mid-week, pulling me from a meeting prep. It was Sarah, my old Pinnacle client, her voice bright. "Martin, just checking in. I'm officially done with them. Contracts toast. Tell me you're thriving." "Thriving's the word," I said, leaning back in my chair. "Apex is good. Closed a big one last week." "Knew you would," she replied. "You were Pinnacle's heart. You know that? We all saw it. Glad you landed where you belong." I paused, her words hitting deeper than I expected. "Thanks, Sarah. Means a lot." "Still thinking solo?" she asked, half teasing. "Maybe someday," I said. "For now, I'm building here." "Good enough." She laughed. "Keep me posted. I'd still sign with you in a heartbeat." We hung up and I sat there staring at the phone. Pinnacle's heart. She wasn't wrong. I poured everything into those clients. Years of calls, fixes, trust, and they'd followed me out the door, not out of pity, but loyalty. That was power Victor never understood. Friday night, I met Lisa for that drink I promised. We grabbed a booth at a bar downtown, her eyes wide as she spilled the latest. "They're selling the office," she said, sipping her beer. "Pinnacle's done. Might shut down by summer. Victor's name's Mud. You're the guy everyone talks about now." "Better than being the guy they forget," I said, clinking my glass against hers. She grinned. "I didn't plan the client thing, you know? Just mentioned you were gone to Mrs. Delaney." She ran with it. "You started a war," I said, smirking. "Best accident I've ever seen." "Worth it," she replied. "You deserved better." I thanked her, slid a 20 to cover the tab, and meant every word. Lisa's quiet move had flipped the table, proof I'd had allies even when I didn't know it. Back home, I wrote her a note. Nothing fancy, just thanks for having my back. Drinks again soon. I mailed it the next day, a small nod to the past as I built the future. Apex was my proving ground, and I was running it my way. My team leaned on me. Claire trusted me, and clients signed because of me. One afternoon, a new hire asked, "How do you do it?" "Bounce back like that." I shrugged. "Got fired. Kept going. That's it." He nodded. Like it was that simple. Maybe it was. Pinnacle became a cautionary tale. Victor's restructuring, a punchline at conferences. I didn't need to check the blogs anymore. The story was done. 45 clients gone. A CEO humbled. A kid outmatched. I'd walked away with my head up, and they'd fallen without me. That was enough. On my last day of the month, I stood at that window again. City lights flickering below. Apex was mine to shape, deals to close, A team to lead, a name to grow. Sarah's call echoed. You're where you belong. She was right. 15 years undervalued. A week of chaos. And now this, a rise I'd earned. I turned from the glass, grabbed my bag, and headed home. The past was ash. The future? That was mine to build. One trust at a time. Did you love Martin's rise from the ashes? Hit that like button if you cheered him on and drop a comment. Would you have gone with Apex or started your own gig? Subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss the next story of grit and payback. Let's keep the conversation going. What's your take on trust in the game? See you in the next story.